All right, next up are what we call methods. There's two things that we'll cover, and this is just a little preview. So there are two things that are similar in terms of what you can do with various variables and things. There are methods, and those are specific for a given variable of a given type. So a string has certain methods that you can use with it. And then there are functions which are also can be applied to different variables, but they're not inherent objects or not inherent features of a variable or a data type. So here we'll cover some methods that you can do with strings. So first we're going to store s back to its original value that we had, which was spam with a capital S. And so one of the methods that you can do with strings is called find. So what find will do is it will find a substring within that string and spit out the position of that string, starting with the starting point. So if we find PA, it will search the string for the character or for the substring PA, and it finds it here, which is at position 1. We can also do a replace method. So replace will search for a substring and then replace it with another string. So replacing PA with capital XYZ gives us this, but the original value of S is unchanged. If we wanted to change it, we'd have to do S equals S replace, and then now it's changed. But let's not. Let me delete that, and I'm going to go back up here, and I'm going to rerun that to make sure. Do you guys see what happened there? So I had added in this new line of something to show you, and I changed the value of S, and I didn't. That was for an example, but I wanted to go back and change it back. So I just went up and reran those cells, and that had the effect of resetting it to its previous value. This is something you can do very easily with this notebook format. You just have to be careful that you don't get in the habit of executing cells out of order too often. And in particular, when the whole notebook is run as a whole, if you were to go up and type kernel restart and run all, which is a good sanity check to do after, like, ideally when you turn in your homeworks to me, you'll write your notebook and everything will be there, and then at the end, before you turn it in, you go restart and run all, and everything should work perfectly. You should get no errors. You shouldn't have extra like test code that you didn't want to use. It should be. Does that make sense? So then everything works. It looks good, and all the cells will be numbered sequentially from 1 to whatever. It's just a good practice. That's a sanity check that everything is working the way you intended. So we did a little version of that where we just kind of like went back and reset some stuff. But if I were to rerun this whole notebook, it would work. Okay. Another method is, so here we're going to set line as this. Effectively, this is a comma-separated values line of text. It's some words separated by commas, and this split method will have the effect of using these commas as delimiter and giving us a list of those words. Now without the commas, these commas here are just part of the list notation. They're not in the strings. We can make something uppercase with the upper method. We can check if the string is a alphabet string. We can also we have this option to strip new line characters. So we make another line that ends in a new line character. We can use this method called rstrip and store it as itself. So we can strip the new line character and save it again and now we've removed that new line character. And this can have benefits if you, for example, if you were to run split and you had a new line character on your last word, that last word would be different from all the others. The other ones wouldn't have a new line character at the end of them, but this one would, and you maybe don't want that. Yes. So if you under help, there's keyboard shortcuts, and there's a whole bunch of keyboard shortcuts. But where is it? Okay, so these are useful. A and B. A would be insert a cell above, and B would be insert a cell below, and then X would be to cut a cell. So I can do B. B is, yeah, there's A, that was A, and that was B, and then when now it's highlighted, I can type X, 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 and if I type let's do this. So I'll execute that one. Whoops, sorry. So this illustrates what I was just saying. So if we split, we have this new line character in this last word. And then I can type X and delete that, but let's say I don't want to do that. I can do undo, delete. But I did want to do that, so okay. Now, there's another cool thing with strings, which is string formatting. So we'll see this with, you can take different kinds of objects or different kinds of variables and format them in a string so that when you print the string, you'll get the value of the variable inserted into the string. So here we're going to set A as bird and B as word, and it doesn't matter, we can use single or double quotes here. So what we're going to do is we're going to print this string, and there's this special string formatter, %s, which will format it as a string, and we're going to have two of those. So we're going to have %s is the %s, and then we close the string, and then there's this little bit here that's new. What we're doing is we're using a %sign, and then a space, and then a tuple, basically. So this is, in parentheses, we have these two things. So this is like a list, but it's a tuple, and so we then specify the two variables that we want to insert, and they will be inserted in order. So A will be first, and then B will be second. So if we execute this cell, when it prints the value of A here and the value of B here. This is another sort of Python-style way of doing things. Yeah?
The online website does it a little bit differently. Like they have an F in front of the quotes. Is that like preferred? Like which one is preferred, I guess?
An F in front of the quote,
and
like
then in brackets, they do the variable name.
So there's an F.
So F in front of the quotation marks.
Here?
Yep.
Like that?
Yeah, and then they do brackets for the variable names. So %s would be replaced with bracket A.
Okay. Like that?
Or
curly bracket?
yeah, curly brackets.
No. Yeah. Let me. Yeah, I haven't seen that. Let me try it. Like that?
No percentage.
Might be a Python 3 thing. Like that?
Yep.
Yeah, it might be a different string formatting syntax.
Okay.
Yeah, that's fine too. I'll have to read up on that. I haven't come across that. Yeah. So when you're in the cell, you're just using you can use your arrows to move around the cell. If you type up, you go to the end or beginning, up and down. But if you type up again, you will go to the next cell.
There's no way to just like automatically copy the command line.
I mean, you could do Command A and then Command C. That would copy it. You can also escape, and now you're not inside the cell. You're just highlighting the cell, and then you could. I believe I don't use this one as much, but. Yeah, you can do a C and then a V, and we'll copy that, the whole cell. So C to copy, and then V to paste below, and then X to delete. Okay, so yeah, thanks for the suggestion. There's another way to format your strings using this bracket notation, and for right now though we'll cover the more standard notation using where the variables are supplied afterward. And there's also different formatters. So. And I'm not sure, I have to see how this would work with the curly brackets, but so you can use either the %s or you can use %r, which is raw format. So this will actually print the value of that variable, including sort of how it's rendered in the system, which is as a string. So it's in quotes here. And also with numbers, you can control how they're formatted as well. So with just integers, we can see that we can evaluate them in this print command. But what happens is when we type this comma, it will add a space between them, and it works better if we use this % notation, because we don't get this extra space here. Cool. All right.